Good evening, Nigeria, and welcome to Politics Now on LN 24/7, where we dive into the heart of the nation's political stories. I'm your host, Morno Balagbubo. And tonight we are dissecting the People's Democratic Party's 99th National Executive Committee meeting held yesterday at the Legacy House in Abuja. The PDP, Nigeria's main opposition, is battling a leadership crisis, defections, and the dramatic closure of its Wadata House Secretariat by FCT Minister Wike. Can it pull together for 2027, or is it crumbling? Well, let's take you through our topic card for tonight. We're looking at the PDP NEC meeting amid crisis. Let's give you a rundown of our talking points. We're looking at PDP's leadership crisis. Who controls the party? Defections and external pressures. Talking about fresh defections today, again at the National Assembly. Wike's power play and PDP's road to 2027. Can it unite and compete? Well, here is what we are covering tonight. We'll delve into the PDP's leadership crisis with the National Secretary dispute and Wike's closure of the Wadata House, exposing deep rifts. And today, the FCT minister was seen backing the decision to go after people who are not yet paying their ground rent. And he says no opposition and no form of politics at all will disrupt whatever that he is doing. So we'll tackle the defection also got in the party. And of course, whether they can unite for 2027. So that's our focus tonight. So we've got a lot to dissect. So let's get started by introducing our guests for the discussion tonight. Of course, we've got Tonye Bakanista, a PDP chieftain, and also former Chief Press Secretary of ECOWAS Youth Council. He'll be joining us shortly. We also have live with us once again Olu Martins, member of the PDP and former spokesman for the Ighodalo 2024 election campaign. Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Olu Martins, for being with us on the show tonight. Hello, Honorable. Good to have you with us on the show. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello, Honorable. Can you hear me? Okay, we'll come back to Honorable. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be right back. Just stay with us. What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues? The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join LN 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
The golden age of America begins right now. I will very simply put America first.
Watch Politics Now on LN 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on LN 24/7.
Many thanks for being with us on the show tonight. Let's break it all down while our guests tidy up their connections. Well, the PDP's 99th NEC meeting was a battleground with the fight over the National Secretary position taking center. Senator Samuel Anyanwu, backed by a court order, claims he's the rightful secretary, while the PDP Governors Forum and National Working Committee back Sunday with Ude Okoye. Allegations of internal saboteurs added fuel to the fire. The meeting was forced to Legacy House after FCT Minister Nyesom Wike sealed Wadata House over unpaid ground rent, a move the PDP calls political sabotage. The NEC postponed the National Secretary dispute to June 30th 2025 pending court rulings frustrating those seeking clarity. They approved caretaker committees for 19 states with expired congresses to stabilize grassroots structures and set a timetable for the August 2025 National Convention. Factional clashes dominated, with some accusing others of colluding with the APC. Let's take a look at what the board chairman Obara had to say.
Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to each of you for your continued commitment to the People's Democratic Party, the party that once symbolized and must again become the beacon of hope for the Nigerian people. But we must be honest with ourselves. There is still much work to do. Divisions, mistrust, and lingering grievances within our ranks have at times hampered our progress and blurred our vision. Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the conscience of the party, I call on all of us leaders, elders, youths, and stakeholders to embrace reconciliation, not just as a political tactic, but as a moral.
Many thanks for staying with us. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Olu Martins is live with us all the way from Edo State. Once again, good evening, Honorable, and thanks for being with us on the show. Hello, can you hear me? Honorable, can you hear me? You have good visuals. I hope we can hear you. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, let's take a quick break to polish our audio connections with Olu Martins. We'll be right back. Let's have a sound bite also from that PDP NEC meeting. This time around coming in from Damagun, the acting national chairman of the party. We'll be right back to break it all down.
Express as follows. Serious concern over the sorry and melancholic state of affairs of our nation under the irredeemably exploitative, insensitive, and anti-people APC administration of Bola Tinubu. NEC condemns the worsening insecurity, the wanton killings, banditry, kidnapping, marauding of communities, and other acts of terrorism in various parts of our country, emboldened by President Tinubu's apparent negligence and abdication of his constitutional duties to ensure safety and security of its citizens. NEC also laments the worsening economic hardship and extreme poverty in the country occasioned by the ill-advised and ill-implemented policies of the Tinubu administration, multiple taxes and unexplained charges on services, resulting.
What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues? The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join LN 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
The golden age of America begins right now. I will very simply put America first.
Watch Politics Now on LN 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on LN 24/7.
Let me begin by expressing my gratitude to each of you for your continued commitment to the People's Democratic Party, the party that once symbolized and must again become the beacon of hope for the Nigerian people. But we must be honest with ourselves. There is still much work to do. Divisions, mistrust, and lingering grievances within our ranks have at times hampered our progress and blurred our vision. Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the conscience of the party, I call on all of us leaders, elders, youths, and stakeholders to embrace reconciliation, not just as a political tactic.
Express as follows. Serious concern over the sorry and melancholic state of affairs of our nation under the irredeemably exploitative, insensitive, and anti-people APC administration of Bola Tinubu. NEC condemns the worsening insecurity, the wanton killings, banditry, kidnapping, marauding of communities, and other acts of terrorism in various parts of our country, emboldened by President Tinubu's apparent negligence and abdication of his constitutional duties to ensure safety and security of its citizens. NEC also laments the worsening economic hardship and extreme poverty in the country occasioned by the ill-advised and ill-implemented policies of the Tinubu administration, multiple taxes and unexplained charges on services, resulting
Many thanks for being with us. Right, let's go straight to the conversation. We've got Tonye Bakanista joining us all the way from the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Glad to have you on the show tonight, Tonye. Hello, Tonye, can you hear me?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Glad to have you with us on the show.
It's a pleasure, my brother. Thank you, sir.
All right,
You
so
are looking good.
Let's get straight to the conversation. Let's start with the Wadata Secretariat seizure. Why isn't the PDP using its constitution to settle the National Secretary fight? And what does this reluctance imply about the internal rule of law within the party? Why is this still a problem? Let's start from there.
Okay, well, I want to slightly disagree with you when you say PDP is not using its own constitution to address the issue of national secretary. The situation is that a few persons within the party, and they are the ones that seek to maneuver the constitution of the PDP. So yesterday, during the National Caucus meeting, everything was laid to bear, and everything was resolved. The issue of national secretary, it was resolved. And like, if you may observe item number 9 of the communique of the NEC meeting, it was very clear that the NEC agreed that the resolution of the Southeast Executive Committee will be taken care of in the next NEC meeting that is scheduled for June 30th, 2025.
Is back with us. Olumatis, can you hear us now?
Yes, I think I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Oh, thankfully, yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So good to have you and Tonye. I'm sure you just listened to him. So before we go to the issue of the Secretariat, which is trending everywhere, even today, the FCT minister, he was out examining some projects, and he made it very clear that he will not be intimidated. But let's start with the issue of national secretary position, because there was a press briefing today, and of course, some of the feelers from some of my colleagues who were there in the media, paints, a sad story. In the word of one of my very good friends who was there at the press briefing, he practically said the PDP is dead, just from that press briefing. So what is your takeaway, and why is it so difficult for this issue of national secretaryship to be resolved once and for all?
I don't know where your colleague got his assertion from or his presupposition from, because before you come to a conclusion, there must be a premise. So if I knew the premise upon which he drew the conclusion that PDP was dead, then I can probably answer that question. At any rate,
Okay,
he was in the
I
press
think I
briefing.
have an
So
idea of
the
what he was
so
talking
the,
about. So let me give you the premise on which he made that assertion. Of course, that is not in his report. This was just a friend-to-friend chat. I'm not saying that was the report he put out, for his media platform. But the premise in which, he came to that conclusion was the Ironwood, situation there. Because according to him, Ironwood is Wike's friend. They're pals. And, that, connection seems to be bringing the party down in terms of the confusion of who is not, why one person will not want to step down for the other.
your friend is an outsider. I can say that very clearly, and he's probably not a politician. The Supreme Court had held in its judgment about 2 months ago. It's an internal thing, and that no extraneous factor can determine the local workings of a political party. It was in that regard that the governor recommended that the deputy national secretary should be acting pending when the Southeast Caucus, who had held unanimously that Udoye should take over from Anyanwu. So let me tell you how this works. When the Supreme Court took their decision, Anyanwu was still holding sway. In fact, it was the contention that made the Supreme Court to take that decision. And when the Supreme Court took its decision, they said there are procedures. The procedure for replacing somebody with another person can only be taken at the level of NEC. It can't be taken at any other level. Any other level is advisory. So when Udoye came and took over, NEC needed to endorse his pronouncement. That's why I say your friend also have the information. Maybe if he had read the constitution of the PDP, he will understand that the NEC is the highest decision-making body. The NEC can sack the national chairman. The NEC can sack any officer and appoint any officer. So in this particular meeting, what the NEC is trying to put together is a framework to say we need to properly, the word is properly, otherwise it will be subject to litigation. You just don't go into a NEC meeting and take certain decisions. By the next NEC meeting for the 30th, the consideration of the Southeast Caucus, because this national secretary had been zoned to the Southeast, the consideration of the Southeast Caucus, which they had forwarded to the National Working Committee, will be considered at the NEC. Do not forget that as at accreditation for the last NEC meeting, there were 319 members of NEC, including former governors, 7 governors, about 20 members of the House of Rep, 20 members of the Senate, the 19 members of the National Working Committee, members of the BOT. So that is the Supreme Court of the PDP. Whatever decision they can turn that decision anymore. And you don't take such decisions in a hurry. You take such decisions carefully. That's why the mills of politics grind slowly, but they must grind surely. not forget that we're entering into an election. And so the party is avoiding litigation. That's why I'm saying that your friend is an outsider. He doesn't
Okay.
understand internal party working. He doesn't
Olumartins,
understand
I
internal
think
party
you've pretty made
processes.
your point
Maybe he
clear.
thought that
I want to bring
arising
in
from that
Tonye
next meeting, the
Bakanista now.
decision should have been taken. That's
We'll
okay.
come back. There's a lot of issues.
By the
We'll
next
have enough
meeting
time
on
to
30th,
tackle
the
it.
decision will
Olu
be taken.
Martins. Okay, so let me bring in
Uh,
Tonye now. Tonye, does weekend sealing of Wadata House prove the PDP is too weak to lead, or is it a symptom of a deeper political struggle for control within your party? Because at that NEC meeting, there were a lot of tough words for Wike, and they felt this is sort of a political move to strangulate efforts to rebuild the party. Whereas, even the FIRS building was also sort of closed down until the president weighed in and said, okay, you have 14 days ultimatum to pay up your ground rent. So, Tony, what's your take on that?
well, I think it will be good for me to address some remarks that was made by my good friend that
Okay,
I
go ahead.
consider. Okay, first and foremost, I was at the Supreme Court on March 21, 2025. I was there before the justices came in, and I listened to the lead justice reading the judgment. First, there were three issues. The first issue was that the Supreme Court nullified the judgment of the Enugu State High Court, which ordered the removal of Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Don't forget that the Enugu State Court ordered Anyanwu removal on moral grounds, not on the Constitution. In fact, prelude to that pronouncement, the lead justice said that a political party is bound by the provisions of its own Constitution and other documents that it oppose. Secondly, the Supreme Court went further to nullify the majority judgment of the Enugu State Court of Appeal, so the Court of Appeal, Enugu Division. Now, that also again upheld judgment of the Enugu State Court. So the Supreme Court nullified it. Then the Supreme Court went further to upheld the minority judgment of the Enugu State, of the Court of Appeal in Enugu State. That minority judgment pronounced that there was no vacancy in the office of National Secretary. Then the Supreme Court went further again to say every appeal of Anyanwu is meritorious. And one of the appeal of Anyanwu is that he is still the National Secretary of the party. So the Supreme Court ruled that all these appeals are meritorious. You can find out in the certified true copy of the judgment. So when Supreme Court said political parties are bound, issues of leadership in political parties are not justiciable, it also said that political parties are bound by their own constitution. Now let us go further. The court also held that the issue of political party can only be brought to the court when the leadership of the political party flout their own rules. That is the only precondition. But I was surprised that most of the reporters, they are silent on this issue. I was there. It's not hearsay. I was there. Now let me also go further. The issue of Simon Yanwu on October 7th, 2021, the PDP zoning committee zoned the office of the national chairman to the north and national secretary to the south. Now, the NEC of the party, which is the second highest organ after the convention, not the highest organ as my good friend earlier stated, but the second highest organ after the convention, zoned the position of national chairman to the north and secretary to the south. Now, the issue of secretary going to the south was a gentleman agreement. Any gentleman agreement that doesn't carry the authority of the NEC or the stamp of national convention cannot override the decision of the NEC. Now, I can be fact check. You can fact check me. Now, let us go further again. The issue of Udokoye and no Udokoye. First and foremost, the Southeast has no authority to even nominate a replacement for national secretary. The reason because it is not vacant. And the PDP constitution clearly states that whenever there is vacancy, the National Executive Committee shall direct the zone where that vacancy occurs. But in this case, there is no vacancy anywhere. The National Executive Committee has not told anybody that there is vacancy. Anyanwu is not deceased, he has not resigned, he has not been defected. So Southeast cannot sit down and anticipate a vacancy with a
Okay.
replacement. Oh
All
no, no, I'm
right.
not
Now,
done, sir. I'm
because
not
of
done, sir.
time,
Please,
Toye, can you
please.
answer the
Okay,
question about the
let me
secretary?
let me just
I
round
mean,
up. It is very important I say this, sir. Sorry, it's very important I say this. So now, the issue of the national secretary as at today is Anyanwu. Even by the time they will meet in the next meeting, this issue will be discussed, because there is no way you can nominate a replacement for a position that is never vacant, and up till now is not vacant. And again,
meeting.
let
So
me use the
I'm
final word.
wondering when that
Hold on.
problem will actually
Sorry,
be
sir. Sorry, sir.
resolved.
Sorry, sir. There's one thing I want to say, sir. There's one thing I want to say. Just one more thing. The NEC cannot sack or appoint a national officer. It's only the national convention that can hire and fire a national officer. It's here in the PDP constitution. So the NEC can only replace where there is vacancy, but they cannot fire. So,
Okay.
so now to
You've
answer
made your
your
point,
question,
Toye. Can you go ahead
oh,
and
thank you,
answer
sir.
the question? Your thoughts on
Please,
the secretary, the secretariat.
well, the issue of the secretariat is the issue of law. The ground rent of 28 years has not been paid. Again, Nigeria is a country of law and order. Let us be very fair. Now, this is not a matter of politics. This is a matter of rule of law. Rule of law. I pay my
But
ground
some
rent.
of the leaders at the meeting about politics, and Wike clearly said that, I mean, he won't be intimidated.
Yes, of course. It is not about politics. Now, the FCT minister in March 2025, informed the party that the ground rent at Wadata and even at the new secretariat that is being under construction have not been paid for 28 years. 28 years. Now, don't forget that the PDP's national secretary at Wadata Plaza is not even registered in the name of PDP at the FCTA. It was one senator that deceased now. Now, between March and May, the party still refused to pay that ground rent. So now what Asiwaju Tinubu has done, the president has done, is to say, okay, rather than final for takeover of the property, let the FCT administration give every defaulter 14 days grace period. So instead of media rigmarole, why not just go and pay the ground rent? It's just 7 million naira. Pay the ground rent and take possession of your property. So let us not be playing politics with it. See, so me, I pay my ground rent. I'm a
Well,
member of
I'm very
PDP,
glad that you were able to make that conclusion. Okay, so
oh,
let's
thank
get
you.
back to Olu Martins. Now, I know you have quite a lot of pushbacks to do, but my question to you is, what are the legal ramifications of the NEC postponing a national secretary dispute despite a court order? Do you agree with that court order, and how does this affect the party's credibility? Your take.
No, it's not about credibility. Man needs wisdom. Met on Tuesday. And it is important for me to mention that the convention is not an organ, that the convention of any party is an instrument. And there's a difference between an instrument and an organ. When we talk about an organ, they are statutory members of an organ. It's an instrument. An instrument is different from an organ. But let me not go into that. The party had decided that in its wisdom, it will look at the issue of the national secretaryship at the next NEC meeting, which is on the 30th. But let me respond to a few. Let us assume, do not the PDP, supposedly. My brother who is speaking, who appears to like the fact that the PDP's secretariat was taken over, all right, because I don't understand how it has to be cannot make a NEC meeting. Supposing it is true, what does a loyal party member do? He has said it's only 7 million. And the way he said it's only 7 million, I would have thought that he would have volunteered to pay. Or the FCT minister who with from all intent and purposes is a billionaire, could have just said, let me avoid, he's a party member, sir. Because I am an Ishan man. Ishan people say, Oluwa wagbe ole sabo. If the inside does not kill you, the outside does not. How can a party member now decide that instead of going to pay 7 million on behalf of the, and somebody says it is not politics, it is the rule of law. Okay, let us consider, no, do not assuming that it is true. What stops the FCT minister from going to pay the rent to say, look, I do not want my party to be embarrassed. You are a member of the party, a bona fide member of the party, so that the party is not embarrassed. It's like the school fees of your estranged, of your divorced wife. Your divorced wife cannot pay the school fees of your children, but they are your children. What do? Even when you have given her the money initially to pay the school and she has squandered it, what do? You go ahead and pay the school fee first of all, so that your children are not embarrassed. Then you will come back and deal with your erring wife or your flamboyant wife. Say, what happened to the money that I first of all gave to you? You don't allow your children to walk outside because they are your children. After paying the school fees, then you can decide to deal with the erring hawk. That's why they say you first of all pursue the hawk. You pursue the hawk before you now tell the hen that she's a careless mother. You don't allow the hawk to take the chicks of the hen because you want to prove to the hen that it's a the hawk.
Well,
Then you come to the hen to say you are a careless mother yourself. So that argument for me does not hold water at all. 7 million is not a lot of money.
all right.
The
Of course,
FCT
it's
minister can
definitely
say
not a
it
lot of
again,
money for
again, and
someone
again
like
as a
Wike.
loyal member of the party. How do you want your party secretary and then you are the one who gives the directive? There's no explanation to it. No explanation to it at all.
Okay, let's
Because
move
all
on,
things are
Olu
lawful,
Martins.
but not all things are
Let me bring
expedient.
let me bring
What is
up
the expediency of
Toye
it?
Bakanista. We'll come to you. We've got quite a number of time. I think for this whole hour, we're really going to try as much as possible to tackle some of the key issues here. But Toye, let me bring you back up. How effective can these newly approved caretaker committees be in stabilizing grassroots structures when the national leadership is in disarray? I mean, hearing this bickering between either Wike's camp or the other camp, I mean, it seems a little bit too much. And just today, again, at the National Assembly, there were fresh defections.
Well, caretaker committee in what sense? Because please, can you be more contextual?
Okay, I think let's talk about the reconciliatory committee under Dr. Bukola Saraki's leadership.
Okay, okay, fine and good. You see, the former governor Obaka Bukola Sharaki has done a tremendous job. Let me tell you, most people don't know this. When he was appointed as the chairman of the reconciliation committee and strategy committee, he did not play pranks. He went straight to the point. And he met the relevant stakeholders, met the national chairman, the legal advisor, the organizing secretary, even Governor Peter Umba, and some other stakeholders. And he told them the blunt truth. And they all reached to, at least to an extent, to an understanding. Let me just say agreement, to an understanding. Now, first thing first, the issue of the secretaryship has been taken care of. Like I said, it can take care of. There is no vacancy and there can be no replacement. You can quote me anyway. Remember, I've always held this with you. Secondly, the party has now moved forward to a planning for a convention. They just appointed the chairman, secretary, and vice chairman of the convention planning committee, and also of the zoning committee of the party. So we are making progress, but it's a process. It's a process. But for the purpose of the viewers, let me just say something. Section 13, or rather Article 13, Chapter 1, Section 1, and the F, sorry, the T portion, where they clearly listed the organs of the party. Just for the purpose of conversation, please, for record purpose, the National Convention was listed as one of the organs of the party. The highest organ, in fact, you can fact check me Article 13, subsection 1 of the PDP constitution. I have it here with me. You can fact check. So that is done. So the issue of the party, people defecting. Of course, people will defect. Political party is a voluntary organization. Free entry, free exit. People stay where there is confidence, and people live where they feel that their political future is threatened. But however, we've experienced the worst of the crisis in the past couple of months. Yesterday, everything was put to a close. We have a the national secretaryship. There's no dispute. The chairmanship, no dispute. The PDP is one, and I believe that. Before the next neck, the zoning committee would have had their report. And also, by the time we convene again for the next session, we will start proper planning of the national convention, which we all look forward to elect a new national officer, to elect new national officers of the party. So everything is okay for the
To
party.
you.
I'm very confident that PDP is bouncing back.
In the words of Bode George, the PDP is resurrecting, even though a lot of people don't feel that way. Okay, let me come back to you, Olu Martins. Now, politics is a game of numbers. This continuous internal squabbling, I mean, it plays a lot on the PDP's public image. Why do I say that? These 2027 elections, for a lot of people, is going to be about attracting new members. So how does the PDP navigate that particular challenge of attracting new members?
Okay, thank you very much. It is instructional to note that Peter Obi in the last election did not have a senator, did not have a governor, and did not have any senior politician in the manner of speaking. But at the end of that election, in spite of the suppression of vote, he came up with over 6 million votes. Elections is not contention between the political class. Among the political class, election is a contention among the people. It is the Nigerian people, the perception of the Tinubu's administration, and indeed the alternative that they are offered. They are the ones that will determine what will happen in the next election. Do not forget too, when Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was president and he was seeking for second term in a manner of speaking, 20 governors, we had a gale of defections like this. And in spite of the defections, you saw how the result went. The clouds are gathering. The Nigerian people are impoverished. The Nigerian people are dying. So, like somebody said, he said this elections is going to be between the Nigerian people and the All Progressive Congress. Can I tell you that members of political parties across all the political parties are not up to 15% of the voting population? So if, for instance, we have 60 million people who are duly registered voters, members of the political, which is probably like 12 million or so. Remember, that is both nominal and active members of political party. And then we have also seen members of political party, in the interest of the Nigerian people, have voted in a direction against their own political party. In the last election,
Permit me
State,
to
Edo
interrupt
State,
a bit
there was
because
a
when you
consensus
say
argument among the
that,
PDP that they will
okay,
vote Peter Obi. In
now
spite of the alignment, in spite of certain people who aligned with other parties for senatorial elections, but for the presidency, everybody, APC, PDP, Labour Party, decided to vote for Peter Obi. So it's about the people. Democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's not for the ruling class. Otherwise, there is in Kaduna State, there is an Okada rider who won election as a House of Representative member. In Edo State, there are people who won elections on the ticket of Labour Party without knowing anybody. When you endear yourself to the people, democracy allows the son of a nobody becomes somebody without knowing anybody. optics, just to create the impression that the presidency is popular. But it's only popular among those that he's dealing with. It's like a case of Ali Baba and the 40 thieves. The problem that we have in this country are the ruling class. At least, like Atedo Peterson has said, we now know where all the thieves are. So no need, if we want to identify all the thieves, we have now separated the shaft from the, we know where all the thieves are. We know where all the thieves are defecting to. It is now the Nigerian people and the thieves. And I'm sure the
2027
Nigerian people
elections
will
is
speak as
between
their representatives. So
Nigerians
let's
and
not
the ruling
overrate
All
the
Progressive
political.
Congress
They are always
Party.
looking for their own personal interest.
The question now for you, Olu Martins, is it's about your party. So from what you are saying now, you don't see the PDP able to single-handedly challenge the APC in 2027.
But it is the APC, the AC in itself has been an amalgamation in and a coalition. So it just makes a lot of sense. And if you look at the statistics, because figures don't lie, if you look at the statistics, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had a little over 6 million votes. President Tinubu had, Mr. Peter Obi had a little over 6 million votes, a few hundreds of thousands less than Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's vote. That is before Tinubu became president. So if you had met Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, if they had presented a common ticket, they possibly would have had maybe 10 million votes against Tinubu's 8 million votes. I mean, 12, I mean, yes, 8 million votes. So it's just mathematical. Politics is mathematics. So if you see how it is, does it not make sense to enter into a coalition? At any rate, how did President Buhari become God president? He became president through a the CPC, a part of the AMPP, the ACN, merged force together, even plus some guys in the PDP, the NPDP merged force together and formed what is now known as the All Progressive Congress. I wish they didn't succeed in that formation because Nigerians are suffering from that formation,
Okay.
but they
Because
succeeded.
of
So
time, let's see if we can bring
all
in
over the
our
world,
other guest,
coalition
Mr.
wants
Olu
to have a
Martins.
common objective.
Mr. Olu Martins, let's see if we can bring in Honorable Ibrahim Itodo, former Inter-Party Advisory Council Chairman. If he's live with us. Honorable Ibrahim, can you hear me? Okay, if he's not live with us, I hope he can hear me. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me? All right, we'll have to move on and hope we can tidy up connections with him. Okay, we'll come back to you, Lou Martins, but let me come back to Tonye Bakanista. We're talking about your party, PDP. You keep saying, okay, 2027 is going to be between Nigerians and the APC. But the question is, how do you endear yourself to Nigerians? Speaking about your public image as a party. Now, talking about this NEC meeting, there were some party members who did not attend the meeting because some people are not happy with the fact that nothing has been done to suspend the FCT minister for the Wadata closure and alleged anti-party activities. So what does this message send to loyal party members who are not even attending meetings at this time?
Well, politics is a game of number, and the people have their opinion. I don't see any anti-party activities of Barrister Nyesom Wike. I will tell you why. You see, people can call for the death of a dog, but before they do that, they want to give the dog a bad name. Now, people saw Barrister Wike is serving in the APC administration, yes, but how did he get himself there? He wrote the party. He wrote the party at the local government level, state government, state local level, state level, zonal level, national level. He even went further to write the PDP Governors Forum. All these bodies, all no except the National Committee, all of them approved of him. All the NWC received it but did not respond, so they kept silent. Silence is consent. Now, if a PDP Governors Forum even sent delegation of Bala Mohammed, Amadou Fintri, and Sheyi Makinde to congratulate Nyesom Wike and urge him to be a good ambassador of the party. So if you say he has committed anti-party activities, I still don't know how. For something that the party endorsed him to do, will I punish my son for something I approve of him? Of course, no. Secondly, the issue of the closure. You see, let us separate Nyesom Wike as a member of the party and Nyesom Wike as a minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Wike, when he took out of office, he owes obligation, official obligation to the constitution and the extant laws that set up that govern the FCT administration. So he will not want to use his uh, personal interest to override the public interest of that office he occupies. So now, as an officer of the Federal Capital Territory, he did what he has to do. And again, it's not even about the PDP secretariat. You are the FIROS, their office was locked. Ibro Hotel locked. So many offices. So let us not just single out Wadata Plaza. I understand. Now, at this point, rather than be looking for who to suspend Wike, I don't think if they want to suspend, we should suspend Atiku Abubakar and his loyalists. Why? Because PDP is not part of any coalition. They've been going ahead to be talking with other opposition figures about a coalition that PDP is not part of. And they want to impose their personal interest on the party. So they are the one to be suspended. Sule Lamido is talking about not being part that he will not be partaking in PDP meetings. Good. Lamido's loyalists were at the coalition meeting that was held over the weekend. So again, you cannot eat from with two hands. PDP has said we are not part of the coalition. When the APC, when the ACN, ANPP, and CPC formed their merger, the parties agreed to this merger. But in the case of PDP as a party has never at a time said go for coalition. So they are doing coalition, which is anti-party, discussing with SDP, discussing with ADC, that have no relation with the PDP, and they are now accusing Wike of anti-party activity. If we are to suspend, we will suspend them. You cannot suspend Wike. In any case, if you want to suspend him, you have to follow the process, the due process. What is the process? Allegations of anti-party activity serve on him. Set up the disciplinary committee. They will give fair hearing. He will have his day before the panel. Then, of course, they take decision and they bring it to the larger house. That is how it is done. Right petition. In fact, when the Tommy Kimi committee was set up, disciplinary committee was set up, over 40 petitions was written to them. But guess what? They abandoned everything and went further to say expel Anyanwu. Why? Because Anyanwu is a friend to Wike. So should I sustain my friendship with you still because you are not you are serving in a government of another party? Friendship is friendship, party is party. Suspend me if I flout the rules.
All
But if
right,
I don't, because you want to fight Wike,
I think
no.
you've clearly Olu Martins now. But for our beloved viewers back at home, you can be a part of the conversation tonight, even right now. Just go to X at LN247, hashtag Politics Now, and sharing your thoughts on this conversation about the state of PDP party and what you think the problem is, what do you think is the way forward. All right, so let's get back to Olu Martins now. Let's talk about what Saraki team is doing. What specific strategies do you think his reconciliation committee can employ to curb defections, given the apparent lack of punitive measures so far against those who leave? And also your comments on Toye's thoughts about, you know, we should also be talking about punitive measures against Atiku Abubakar, as he's the one single-handedly spearheading coalition talks.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we can talk from both sides of the mouth, because I do remember that the FCT minister had made it abundantly clear that his primary duty now, Ghana vote for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC. It is important that I mention that of the APC, to Ghana vote for him for 2027. He's made that abundantly clear. Whilst your party is still trying to put its act together, you have endorsed the candidature of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that is in the public domain. As for Atiku, there's nothing wrong with association. The coalition is not a political party, because if you say that Sam Anyanwu cannot be vilified for being friends with Wike, then you cannot ask people not to talk. Politics is the game of interest. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. What is the interest of the coalition? The interest of the coalition is that they come together to oust President Tinubu, so that we can have somebody else other than him. The PDP is in opposition. What is the job of what is the primary focus of the PDP? To be in power. Political parties are there to be in power. So my friend's friend, when interests align, it's a game of interest. So if I see people whose interests align with my own, can I not cross purpose it with your party? Atiku has not said that he is representing PDP in that coalition. Atiku has said, in the interest of having somebody else in office other than President Tinubu of the APC, can we talk? What is wrong with join? I tell you, as per the PDP secretariat, can I ask? Because he says that we must separate FCT minister as a party member and then as FCT minister. Yet he wrote to the party. So he understands that he's a party member. That's why he wrote to the party. But I'll give you a scenario. I have a police officer friend here, a traffic warden. He stops one of my friends who breaks the traffic light and realizes that when the guy stopped, his sick son is at the back. Can he implement the law as a police officer? Of course. But he realizes the situation and say, there is a sick boy at the back. Can I use my discretion? Even though this guy had broken the law, but can I use my discretion as a police officer to allow him go? And that's why I say, even the Holy Scriptures say, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So I repeat to you again that it will have, the best thing will have been able to do on the part of the SC minister is to even use a proxy. Please take this money, go and pay it on behalf of my party. That is what loyal party people do. It doesn't have to be him. Then you cannot say the party owes me. But Minister Wike didn't do that, and he hasn't shown any remorse in the fact that he is interested in the advancement, the furtherance, the continued stay of President Tinubu in office. So that is not an argument. So, but I don't want us to be, debating back and forth. The desire of all members of the People's Democratic Party, in the first instance, is that we are in power. We win election either by a coalition where we have the same interest, or as a political party. The coalition formative stage, so anybody can deny it's still in its formative stage. When the coalition materializes, then we'll begin to see a clearer picture of what all of this hoopla is about. But I'm a little bit offended when party people will come outside to speak against what the party is doing. Don't we want to win election? Can the PDP win election alone? No. What is wrong with being a coalition? Also to say that the people who are in coalition who want to win election, but this is a game of interest. I'm now doing anti-party. It beats my imagination whole, honestly speaking. I cannot understand that kind of political population of political interest. I am yet to understand. Somebody says that this is the direction we are going to. Can I take in my vehicle? You say I rather trek and let the sun and the guy is going through your direction. So you're asking that people who are strategizing how to win election, and your party wants to win election. The people who are strategizing that the party wants to win election should be suspended. But your principal, in a manner of speaking, who says that he has fully endorsed the candidature and is going to gather votes for an APC candidate in Abuja and in Port Harcourt, is not anti-party. I'm sure my
All right.
primary school teacher,
Olimatis, because of time, we have to
either
wind
the
down the
anti or the
conversation.
party. I don't understand. Neither of them.
To get the thoughts of our Toye Bakanista as we wrap up. We're almost out of time. Okay, Toye, now you seem to be pro-Wike from some of your thoughts shared tonight. So what will it take for the PDP to win the 2027 presidential election ticket?
Okay. First and foremost, the party should respect the zoning arrangement. Zone the presidency to the south. Firstly. Secondly, the party should reform itself by obeying and respecting the provision of the constitution, irrespective of who else is God, who is God, without fear or favor. Then thirdly, the party should be seen to belong to every member of the party and not just a privileged few governors or former governors. Because this party belongs to all of us. At the end of the day, it's still we party members that will go to our villages and our localities to mobilize votes for the party. And then, most importantly, the party should make way for younger people to assume leadership with or without having a godfather, especially those that have what it takes to contribute to the growth of the party.
And
Because we cannot be.
especially people like you, Toye. Our time is up. That's the
Thank you very much.
tonight. Okay, Mr. Olumartins, you've just got 1 minute to share your final thoughts before we call it a day.
No, no, I am in consensus other than with his postulations as to what is required for the party to all of the points that he has raised. I'm in consensus other than with them. All right. Even though I don't to find the balance between the old and the young. What is what you have out there? There are stupid young people and there are foolish old people. For me, what is capacity? Age does not bestow capacity on you. You have to have the capacity, whether you are old or young. So for me, I do not like that. Oh, young people. I try to find a definition for young, whether it is in the mind or whether it is in the body. For me,
Okay.
what matters is about capacity. You must have
That's
the
the much we can
capacity
take,
to deliver.
Honorable
Because very many young
Martins.
people do not have the
Capacity
capacity to
over
deliver. But
age.
once you have
Age
the
is just a
capacity,
number. It's all about capacity. Well, I do hope for the sake of party faithfuls of the PDP that all of the internal crisis can be put aside and then see the big picture. Once again, thank you so much, Olu Martins, for being with us on the show tonight. All right, that's it for politics tonight. The PDP's 99th NEC meeting exposed a party that is fighting to survive leadership battles, defections, FCT ministers' Wike's closure of the Wadata House. Can it rally for 2027? My sincere thanks to all our guests tonight. Well, join us next time right here on LN 24/7 for more on Nigeria's political pulse. Stay engaged and don't forget to hit us up on our social media platforms and, of course, get to participate on our programs. Once again, my name is Morno Balagbogo. Many thanks for watching tonight.